Someone actually tweeted and triggered this conversation that I want to have with you from a different perspective and a different vantage point. Someone tweeted that until you have a brother or a child or a sister that is basically going through the most in terms of drugs in the neighborhood, or who is going through poverty, unemployment, and other social ills, you will never understand the rationale behind NHLANHLA LUX and Operation Tutula. That may be true for some. In fact, it may be true for most, but there's different perspectives for everything. Social media, platforms such as YouTube, they give us the platform to also give our perspective and our views around particular subjects. And I don't want to lie, I only knew about NHLANHLA LUX until recently. Yes, I had heard about the Maponya Mall being protected during the riots. I had heard about some of the work that they were doing on the ground within their neighborhood. Mind you, we're talking about a neighborhood that has a recorded 1.895 million people in it since the last census was done, which means we're talking about either 4 million people or triple that, going to 6 million people, right? Some of which are comprised of legal South Africans, legal immigrants, documented immigrants or foreign nationals, and some are illegal, undocumented foreign nationals. It's only when you're in a particular situation that you see things for what they are. So one cannot necessarily sit here and bemoan the situation and feel like I'm a part of the people while I'm here recording this video in the comfort of my own home and yard. But my opinion is that I can learn a thing or two from NHLANHLA LUX, the people that follow him, the people that stand in solidarity with him, and the people that are sad that he's in prison. At the time of this recording, right, he's been held in a police cell, allegedly, apparently, with foreigners. There's threats to his life. There's an issue of him not being able to eat the food at the prison because this may be an opportunity to poison him. All speculations and insinuations at this point in time. But the drive behind everything that has made this noise up to this point is why we are all talking about him. So I thought I should also chime in on the conversation. I mean, it's only fair, it's only right. And given the direction that this channel is going through, or the direction that it's heading towards, it's very key and important to know that, like Abraham Lincoln said, I learn from everyone, even if it's what not to do. I repeat that. I learn from everyone, even if it's what not to do. So you have to look at a situation, sieve out the good from the bad, and see what you can learn from it. So here are some lessons that I've extrapolated, seen, taken, and would like to share with you. The first lesson is this: propaganda and language are very powerful. You need to understand how powerful those tools are. Apparently, this Operation Tutula has been existing for years. They've been doing work on the ground. The people in Soweto know about them, appreciate some of the actions that they've been doing to uplift the community. Apparently, it's self-funded, right? It's the community that comes together to fund whatever initiative, drive, whatever mandate that they may be pushing at that point in time. It's been happening for years. But when all that good was happening, there was no propaganda that was shining the light on what was happening. It was the people that were amongst the operations, the people that were together with what was happening, with the leadership of this Operation Tutula. Now it has come largely to prominence because of the charismatic nature of the current leader, NHLANHLA LUX. It has come to prominence because of the radical approach that they've chosen. But who said a radical approach is bad to begin with? Through the power of language, let me not even go to Steve Biko. Through the power of language, Robert Sobukwe was able, through the Pan-Africanist Congress, to lead people, those in close proximity to him and those as far as 1,300 to 1,500 kilometers away, all the way in Langa Township in the Western Cape. Those in Sharpeville, those in Orlando, they were led by a direction that was set out by the leader, Robert Sobukwe. Unfortunately, they died in the process. 169 deaths, if I'm not mistaken. It was a very unfortunate situation, but through language, through a combined coercion, through a combined mission and understanding, they came together and said, we are indeed going to fight this with our leaders. And to unfortunately suppress the situation by identifying the power of the words that were uttered by the leaders at that time. Robert Sobukwe was incarcerated and was not released until later in his life. When you look at Robben Island and all the other leaders that were taken and enclosed there, the biggest thing was that it was about the language. They had the ability to speak to the people listening, not only speak through them being heard via the vessel of people having ears, right? But also speak through the articulation of words in such a way that it enters the heart. It drives people to believing the mission and the vision at that point in time. NHLANHLA LUX is the new revolutionary, you can say. He's the face of this movement. He articulates himself well. He speaks well. But not only that, I've been digging. As I said, this guy came to the fold and to prominence largely last year during the riots and the looting. However, if you dig deep, you see that his journey is there. It's not hidden, right? Which is another lesson we'll get to. His journey is not hidden. It's as transparent as can be, and I'll get there. But through his articulation, he speaks the problems that are endured and faced by the community firsthand. Abogogo bethu, omkhulu bethu, omama, bana barina. Firsthand, you can see the drugs, the 𝐷𝐤𝐝 spreading. You know who the drug dealers are. You know the impact of having illegal foreign nationals in your community and the impact that has on a number and a variety of things. The common things being the outlook on the employment rates in the community, the outlook on the crime element in the community, the outlook on the solidarity and building together and actually forming a unity in the community. So by speaking a language that everybody understands, you are able to drive a particular narrative or vision. Depends on which side of the pendulum you are at. While driving that particular narrative, propaganda uses language to also drive people astray. The people on the ground say, we support this guy. We see what they're doing. He's been at it, right? The people on the ground say that. And then us who are far away, in the comfort of our own homes, in the comfort of our own yards, we actually just allow ourselves to fall prey to that particular situation. So understand the power of language, and in your right, in your circle, in your community, try and use that power of language to your advantage and to basically expeditiously spread the movement of truth that you want to spread. I further think it would be rather disingenuous of me while discussing this lesson of language and propaganda, to not address the elephant in the room. This issue of pinning NHLANHLA LUX against Julius Malema, Operation Tudula against the EFF, and then saying that it's Operation Tudula that's distracting the EFF from reaching its objective. That in itself speaks the power of language, going to heights never imagined even by the esteemed and honorable political leaders. It's society that decides to pin this person against this person. Then the propaganda machine just pushes everything, expedites the process, makes sure that as many ears actually get that narrative as possible. So our responsibility then is to ensure that we are not part of the games, we are not part of the tools that are used to ensure that this propaganda continues. Prior to NHLANHLA LUX's arrest, MacG asked him about Julius Malema and his take about the opinions that Julius Malema has had on Operation Tudula. I would urge you and rather convince you to go and watch that episode, because you'll hear that there's no animosity coming from NHLANHLA LUX's side. When going into prison, obviously, you'll have a different perspective, a different vantage point, and you already know that the people that are pushing you to be incarcerated or at least detained are members of the EFF. So you'll respond not with the level of maturity that you would have previously responded if the narrative hadn't kept on being pushed. And once you push someone into a corner, they'll obviously then come out guns blazing. Once you awaken a giant, it will obviously come and trample you. So as Black people, this aspect of unity is an aspect that we must keep on pushing. We mustn't allow the media to take advantage of whatever resources that we can have as a united front. So Julius Malema and NHLANHLA LUX, yours is to have a sit down, come together, see where you overlap so that you capitalize on that. And then moving forward, see that as a young person, NHLANHLA LUX, be open to being educated by a veteran politician. At the same time, as a career politician, Julius Malema, ensure that you are not just about the politics. I've done a video right here on this channel about Julius Malema. It was a case study and also some lessons that you can take from Julius Malema as well. That's what I want, unity amongst us Black people. Don't let the language of propaganda be the tool that is used to divide and conquer us. The second lesson that I've taken from this entire situation, you need to be true to yourself, man. You need to be true to yourself. Every single thing that I've seen, every picture that I've seen about NHLANHLA LUX, every article, it has come as a result of either a picture on his Instagram that he posted, right? His picture with Rob Hershoff, his picture playing golf, his picture in a McLaren, his videos in a McLaren, his picture sitting with 𝐌𝐮𝐬𝐢𝐜 and having robust discussions, his picture in the community, his picture at Maponya Mall, the pictures are already on his platforms. If you go to his YouTube channel, you'll also realize that a number of the videos and the things that he said in prominent interviews or platforms that are large are there on his channel. They remain consistent, meaning he stuck to his truth. He's lived in two worlds. Now, all of us who are judging this fellow, if you were raised in poverty, dire circumstances, you were sleeping on the floor, you know the issues and the challenges that you and your counterparts and peers face. You know them, you live them. But every day you go to this opulent, affluent environment and you push and succeed in that particular environment as well. That oxymoronic situation is actually a situation that builds your character. So people want to challenge his past. I mean, come on, is it his choice that he grew up in poverty? The luck that has been brought to his aid through him studying at St. David's, is it him that controls the karma of the universe in that sense? Let's be honest. You need to stick to your truth. Know where you come from. Don't forget where you come from. Ensure that you build within the environment where you come from. Some people actually live that. Some of us are successful in our own right. And so we have the data to tweet all day, to make videos and post them on YouTube, spreading our own narratives, our own belief systems, pushing in the way that we are pushing. And so we forget the plight of the African child. We forget that plight. Sure, he moves within different circles, but the insinuations, the speculations, the narratives that are spread around him are yet to be proven. They are yet to be proven. So live your truth regardless of what the world says. And funny enough, you'll find the world actually respecting you for that specific truth. Learn what you can from the people that you can learn from. That's the next lesson. In other words, build your network of powerful, instrumental people in society. So he went to St. David's. He built his network at St. David's. Those are rich people. People that were in his network, that he was surrounded by. He was invited to the brides, to the occasions, to the birthday parties, and he went. He got to meet those people. He got to network with those people. And despite the level of networking that he has done, he still is able to sit back and look at the challenges of entrepreneurship in the aviation space and concede regarding how difficult it is to actually succeed in that environment. He has that ability, he's lived that ability, he's pushed that ability. And we who discover him at this late stage, it's sad to see that we are judging him based on what people always preach. If you follow DJ Sbu, if you've read his books, I've read 2 of DJ Sbu's books, which I'll review on this channel as well, probably in the next coming weeks. In both Undercover Billionaire, Billionaire Under Construction actually, and Sell or Surrender, in both those books, DJ Sbu speaks about the power of your network. Your network is your net worth. So when someone, a young black child, actually optimizes and capitalizes on that specific thing, why do we want to come and judge the very thing that business experts, business coaches, and business leaders actually want us to do? He did that and he succeeded in his own right. So let him be. Let him capitalize on that specific network that he has built and is building. He's allowed to do so. At the same time, for him to be so in touch and in reach with the community, he's also capitalized on the network of friends and people around him in his community and has taken the fight within himself to his heart. And he has taken action regarding that specific thing. So he's capitalized on his network on both sides, which is very important. Very important. The 4th lesson, believe in yourself. No one else will do it but you. It's all good and well to go fighting other people's fights. But when you are in the trenches, you are in it. You are therefore uplifting and empowering. Then you have to believe in yourself for what you are fighting for to have a possibility of succeeding. So what that he speaks posh, proper English? Is he not supposed to because he lives in Soweto? He's supposed to. What's wrong with that? He is supposed to do that.
You have people saying this man should be the next president of South Africa. When you ask them why, and then they're like, because he speaks well.
He is supposed to do that. And we're supposed to welcome that. He articulates himself with reasoning. He's able to rationalize. He believed himself enough to form this parliament for young leaders in Soweto. I went through that website, and to be honest, I was impressed. And it's one of the driving forces that also led me to sit in front of this cell phone screen and record this video. I was impressed. The focus right now is on the illegal immigrant and foreign national situation, those that are undocumented. But if you go through the website, then you'll actually see that there's more to what they're building. They're talking about unemployment and taking action around that particular thing. They're talking about youth, not only in universities, but also those that are still in school, and empowering them. They're talking about entrepreneurship. They're talking about communities coming together, forming one thing and fighting one fight. To formulate these types of missions within your overall vision is to speak to your character and to actually say that South Africa is going to go far, right? Believe in yourself and drive it from the ground. Lesson number 5. It's better to win the hearts of the people that matter than the people that have the loudest voices when it doesn't matter. Let me elaborate on that. In Soweto, I've already outlined the population as it is known today. If this movement within Soweto alone, forget that it has moved to Tshwane, to the Western Cape, to Alex and other communities, forget that. Focus on the fact that in Soweto, it's having an impact.
So our end goal is simple. Is to try see our immediate communities at a certain level. Our grannies in townships can't live the way they're living. Our young people in townships can't be subjected to drugs and alcohol abuse. Our schools in townships can't be in such a dilapidated state that single parents, most households are led by mothers. Our mothers can't fear that when my boy leaves or my girl leaves to the park and play, they'll come back and you'll be addict. So all those things are within our reach because I can be called and walk to the park. I can go take one taxi, 20 rand, to get to Diepkloof, where there's no electricity. So what's immediate? If we can contribute towards the emancipation of our people and development of our communities in Soweto and other townships, once that is done, then we can graduate to agendas that are bigger, because even our influence will have grown stronger. And with the unity that I'm speaking about, our resources will pull together to make sure that in 200 years' time, the black child that is born continues to benefit from the decisions we've made today.
If the impact grows more and more, it means that it can spread more and more. If it starts with me pushing a movement with my next door neighbor, it then spreads to our complex, it then spreads to our immediate township and neighborhood, then it then spreads overall throughout the whole suburban Africa. Then we're doing the right thing. We're building from the ground. And according to what I've heard in some of the interviews, they've been building for years. They've been in the trenches for years. His first post that's on Instagram is from 2015. And in 2015, I kept going, reading the captions. I didn't just want to come here and sit and give an opinion that is unsubstantiated. If you look at the consistency and persistence of him pushing to empower others, you'll even see him going to prisons and speaking and actually not undermining the minds that have been incarcerated, but acknowledging them and empowering them with his own specific skill set and what he knows. Through his network, he's been able to sit on specific platforms, but use those platforms for good and change. I take that as a powerful tool. He's built consistently and persistently. He's been resilient. And currently, with him being incarcerated, we'll see how tenacious he is in the process. This is a very important discussion to have. If you can't convince your next door neighbor, now where I stay, you can call it privilege if you want, right? But I've been able to consistently push so that I'm able to get here with my own vision, with my own goals, and with my own ways of giving back. But I don't have the same struggles that some of the people in the townships have. I grew up in a rural area some years, then grew up in the township of Vosloorus for the most of my formative years. I went to an ex-Model C school. I experienced poverty in my own right. There was a time when all we had was impoop, ace, if it were even ace, in the cupboard. And that's what we ate until Mama old lady actually got to get paid, right? And if I was in the trenches, and if I had let that dire situation dwell and play in my mind long enough, and I decided to stay, there's no telling where I'd be right now and the consequences for where I would be. There's no telling, unfortunately. So if I can't convince my next door neighbor on my vision, how am I going to convince the whole of South Africa? How am I going to go and trend for 8-9 days straight on social media? It won't happen. And it won't happen because it may not fit with the next lesson. I think it's lesson number 6 now. Putting action to your words. Lesson number 6, putting action to your words. Actually doing the groundwork. Guys, it's very unfortunate that these technological advancements are not being used and optimized as fully as they possibly can be. Because social media is giving us a platform to talk, to type, to spew whatever comes to mind, top of mind at that point in time. But a lot of us are doing it in the comfort of our own homes. And we are judging those on the ground who are approaching certain social ills in their own way to fit and meet their own situations and circumstances. We are sitting judging what's happening. Aye, this guy is a sellout. Aye, white monopoly capital tool. Aye. But the question is, what are you doing? What action are you putting forth? What are you doing on the ground? Are you just talking here on social media? Or are you actually doing something about it? Are you leading in the trenches for whatever you believe in? Because an important lesson which overlaps is that not everyone is going to agree with you. Not everyone is going to concur with you. Yours is to push your vision, whether you are pushing in the minority or in the majority. But you have to do it consistently so. You need to drive your narrative consistently so. And your boots have to be on the ground. You have to be on the ground doing the work. If you want to teach me about this and that, I have to see it. I have to see you doing it. If you want to come to MacG and speak about all your dreams and your wishes for the country, but you're not doing anything about it, then keep quiet. Do something about it, then you'll have a voice and you'll be able to go on that platform like NHLANHLA LUX did to share your story. Lesson number 7. Do not be fazed by confrontation and whatever difficulties come your way. Yesterday I was listening to NHLANHLA LUX interview with 𝐔𝐬𝐞𝐝. I don't think I've enjoyed an interview that much in a very long time. It was a robust discussion. He stood for what he believed in. He fought intellectually with a super intellectual person, the likes of 𝐔𝐬𝐞𝐝. And even though 𝐔𝐬𝐞𝐝 did try to corner him here and there, it's his job. He was doing his job and he did it quite well, according to me. And by doing it well, he gave NHLANHLA the opportunity to answer those tough questions, to reiterate his belief system, to stand up for what he sees as right, and to share his perspective. Believe and stand for what you believe in. Be tenacious, be resilient, fight back, stand tall. Unfortunately, when you fight for what you believe in, not many people are going to come and fight the battle with you. It's a very sad reality, and it's very unfortunate. And that's why you have to have your boots strapped, be ready for any situation, articulate yourself, and show that you understand the fight that you are fighting for, and you understand it fully. It's very important. Lesson number 8. Have the mechanism to spread the message. Use the tools at your disposal to push forth what you're pushing. Have a bit of flu. It's just that I was driven to do this video. So excuse me for that. But have the necessary tools and mechanisms to push whatever you are pushing. Let me not be any more long-winded. I think the 8 lessons are good enough. Use the tools of trade, the skill sets at your disposal to push the fight, your fight, forward. So what if NHLANHLA LUX plays golf and is good at it? If you actually listen to why he does it and why he pushes it, then you'll understand why it's not such a big deal. So what that he takes pictures with white people? My neighbors on my left are white. My neighbors on my right are white. The house behind me is owned by white people. We have discussions here and there. Some of my neighbors don't speak to me just because of the color of my skin, and that's okay. But should I not engage with people that can assist and push my vision forward just because they are white? No. No, no, no. I must push that. I must have those solid engagements. I must see what I can gain for my people. And that's what NHLANHLA LUX has been able to achieve. I hope you'll take these lessons that I've shared from my perspective. And I hope that through listening to me speak, rant, try to share in the conversation and try to actually have a role to play, I hope that you too can learn something important from it. Baby girl, it's early morning, as you can see. I love you guys a ton. Every lesson, the implementation thereof starts with you. Tell them, baby girl.
Starts with you, network.
Ask them to subscribe.
Subscribe to this channel.
Tell them we love them.
And we love you.
Cheers, guys. I couldn't have said it any better way. You heard what the angel has had to say. Cheers.